Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are looking at the Type 59 on the updates 1.91 dev server, and the reason I want to have a look at it is because, well, it's an interesting vehicle. It's a rank 5 battle racing 7.7 vehicle, so it shares a lot of the BRs of some very fun vehicles, you know, the T54s, the IS4M, RIP Mouse, the Leopard 1, also the M103, the M60, M48. There's a lot of 7.7 vehicles that exist in the game, and also the STB1. And the reason why I want to look at the Type 59 is because I think out of all of the Chinese vehicles, it has the best chance of the one which will be meta alongside its brother, the Type 69, if they both stay at 7.7. The reason why I'm picking the Type 59 is because the Type 69 is just a better version of it. So if I can prove that this one will be meta, the other one should also be meta. So what is the Type 59? Well, in history, it's a T54A, which was license built by the Chinese, meaning that it is a T54 with a slightly different 100mm, which has a stabilizer. In game, it has a vertical stabilizer, but also stays incredibly stable in the horizontal as well, meaning that it basically has a two-plane stabilizer. Also has a Dishka on the top of it, and when it comes to its armor values, we're looking at 100 on the upper glacis, 100 on the lower glacis, and then 200 on this turret with 155 and 115 in areas with a 160. So this turret is incredibly similar to what we find from the T54 series of vehicles. If you want to have a look, it's not similar to the first one, but if we have a look at the T54-51, it's pretty much the same turret. You know, it's this turret here with the 200, 160, 155, 115, and so on and so forth. So yeah, you're pretty much taking a T55 1951, giving it a stabilizer, and also, not just that, but also giving it heat FS, APDS, which nearly pens 300mm of goddamn armor, alongside a heat FS which pens 390, god, and putting it at 7.7. Now, the Type 69 gets an APFS DS shell, but it's not very good, and it also gets a heat FS with 390, so you're going to use that. It also gets a laser rangefinder and night vision. So that's meta. You know, that's going to be meta. The Type 59, though, does have the heat FS shell, doesn't have the rangefinder, doesn't even have a standard rangefinder, which is kind of bad, and it also doesn't have the best reload. But you've got to remember, I'm running it with a 1 crew here, so it can get down to 8.6 seconds, which brings it in line with a lot of vehicles that it would fight at 7.7. So we all know how good the T54 armor is, or can be. We all know how good the 100mm is. Now, imagine if you had 100mm at the same BR with BR 412D, which is basically what you use anyway, plus a heat FS shell which will pen anything that it touches, and also have the Dishka, and also have the 4-man crew. Welcome to the Type 59. This is why, in my opinion, it's going to be incredibly good in the game if it comes out at 7.7. The two BRs that I think are going to be very strong for the Chinese are the 7.7 BR, because you've got the M48, the BMP, the T54A and the T54A souped. And then, of course, you have the LA9, the MiG-9, which are very fun, the F-84G 21RE with all its secondary. So 7.7's a banger. Then you've got the 5.3 lineup, right? So you've got the the 5.7 lineup, or the 5.3 if you want to, but the 5.7. So the T-3485s, both of them, and the M18, bang, beautiful. AA machine if you want it, IS-2 as well, and then you've got, of course, the P-47, P-51D, or P-51K. All of them bangers. So you've got two really solid lineups for the Chinese, and the Type 59 is in one of them, showing to me, at least, it's going to be an incredibly fun vehicle to use, because it's just a vehicle we already have in another tech tree, but with some better characteristics, including a better heat FS, including a better gun in the form of a stabilizer. It just loses out in certain other ways, such as turret rotation, which, you know, is kind of annoying, but it isn't the end of the world. Has the same camouflages as a lot of these other vehicles that you see, generally meaning that, you know, they are standardized across the board. On top of this as well, you have an 11.2 second reload with a 7 degrees per second gun rotation. So this is the main problem with it, right? These statistics, not really the hidden statistics, but just the statistics that you don't really think about, are going to be the ones which kind of hold it back, and you're going to have to work around. So the first one is if you're in blind fog and you don't have optics which can deal with that. So make sure not to do that. You know, make sure to set up your settings perfectly so you don't have to worry about that. But the next thing to worry about is your lack of reverse gear. You know, this is something which plagues a lot of Soviet vehicles and unfortunately plagues a lot of these Chinese vehicles. It still has, you know, 7 kilometers an hour backwards, but it's nothing to write home about. The next thing is turret rotation. So this machine might have the worst turret rotation I've seen in a long time for a fully upgraded vehicle. And remember, I don't have a fully upgraded crew, so that's going to, you know, change it a bit. But look how slow this turret is. It's 7 degrees per second. Like, you can make a dinner in the time it takes you to cross this into another threshold. On top of this, though, it has, as we talked about, a stabilized gun. And if you need help turning the turret, then what you can do is just push it around, and you should be able to, you know, get shots off at whatever you want. And so, you know, that's at least nice. You also have a dishka to mow down any of those lighter vehicles that kind of get in your way. And of course, you can just use the APC-BC if you want to kill anything in your way as well. So 390mm penning EFS with the armor of a T-54, with the reload of a snail, with the turret rotation of a granddad who's unfortunately got a crippled back. So there are advantages. There are disadvantages to this vehicle, but if we have a look at what generally makes a vehicle meta at 7.7, one of the strong factors is a stabilizer. Think about the best vehicle at 7.7 right now, which is the STB1, massively popular and massively good at what it does. The reason is because of the stabilizer, the hydropneumatic suspension, and it actually makes up for the fact that it doesn't have great gun depression. You know, and the T-54 here, it has absolutely horrific gun depression, so therefore, you know, it doesn't have a hydropneumatic to look after it, but it is an incredibly low-profile vehicle. And I meant to say the Type 59, I said the T-54, I apologize for that. That's going to happen a lot. But it's got an incredibly low profile, so therefore, getting the gun down compared to other machines, it's not going to be so hard to do. On top of this, the turn rate is not too bad, so you can actually save the turret rotation of the gun. You just have to make sure to move in tandem your fingers with your mouse to make sure that the gun gets on target. And also at the same time, what you don't have is stuff like ESS, which would be nice to see, and also smoke. So the survivability angle you are definitely struggling with this machine, but everything else is looking very positive in it when it comes to just being able to set up a kill and being able to survive. The stabilizer is such an important key part of any machine when it comes to their 7.7 bracket, especially if you get down to it quite a lot. And since they added in quantitative matchmaking to the game as well, that means that 7.7s, when they face 8.7s, you can only see 25% of an enemy team being 8.7s, so, you know, it isn't as bad as it used to be. At the same time, because you have that stabilizer, you have that ability to be up-tiered in a much better way than a lot of other vehicles, and it gives you that first-time shot potential. One of the reasons why machines like the PT-76 in the Soviet tree are useful against others is because of the stabilizer. It's because I can be moving at a decent pace like I am in this T-54, and I can blacken ammo on a Flarak and not blow it up. But what I can do is I can be moving around at 30 to 40 kilometers an hour, and I can be able to get an easy shot while moving. Stuff like the Leopard can't do that. Stuff like the other T-54s, they can do it, but they're not as good as this at it, and what that means is you have a distinct advantage over whatever enemy you're fighting because you have the ability to always get that first shot potential into the enemy. Because of the stabilizer, because of the 390mm pen of the Heat FS, you can guarantee damage against a machine. Now when you go up to 40 and you run like rough terrain, oh, I hit a tree, you can see that it's not as stable, but anything 0 to 30 is a very stable gun to use. So the downsides it has, you know, with they can be mitigated, and I think because of the fact that it has these really nice little upgrades that not many 7.7s have, it can easily become a meta vehicle alongside its brother, meaning that you have a very strong lineup for the Chinese at 7.7. For me, there's not a lot to write home about for this new Chinese tech tree. There's a lot of stuff which is exactly the same as the old. There's a lot of stuff which I look at and I think, I don't want to play that again. I've already spaded it. But these two lineups, the 5.7 and the 7.7, are the things that I'm clinging to be able to set up lineups for, to be fun with, and to also do stuff like events with, I think is going to be incredibly good and incredibly fun to do. And this is going to be a key central point of that 7.7 lineup. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Ambrosius McClellan, B. Young, Blackie, Daniel Stanton, John Ryman, Joseph Anders, Martinez, Mopar 1969, Moxie, Super Cacti, Uyans Terry, and Eel of Goats, and of course Seductive Trash Can for supporting the channel.